Protocol 84 demands a mandatory psychological test for all soldiers at Outpost Kilo. 50 questions. Yes or no? Last Tuesday, the automated system recorded exactly 40 submissions. All passed. The base commander signed off and sealed the logs. But at 4 a.m. today, the system printed a 41st result. User 41 failed the test on question 12. Are you currently aware of your surroundings? The user answered, no. The problem is, there are only 40 men registered at Outpost Kilo. And no one has entered or left in 3 months. This file contains the internal communications leading up to the lockdown of Outpost Kilo. The story of a garrison hunting a man who was never deployed there. Outpost Kilo is located 70 miles north of the Arctic Circle. It is a listening station. There are no towns. There are no roads. The ice storms block the sun for weeks. We don't fight with guns. We fight with antennas. Our job is to listen to the empty sky. We wait for encrypted signals from enemy satellites. That means the men stationed here are not infantry. They are technicians, radio operators, engineers, men who understand machines. But isolation does terrible things to the human mind. When you stare at a radar screen for 12 hours a day, the silence starts to play tricks on you. You hear whispers in the static. You see shadows moving near the blast doors. That is why Command created Protocol 84. The monthly psychological evaluation. It is very strict. Every soldier must log into a secure terminal in the cafeteria. You scan your military ID card. You sit alone. You answer 50 questions. Questions like, do you feel watched? Have you heard voices that are not there? Do you believe the man sitting next to you is plotting against you? If a soldier fails, they are locked in medical isolation. They wait for a helicopter to take them away. We take the test very seriously. 2 days ago, all 40 of us dragged ourselves to the cafeteria. We scanned our cards. We clicked yes or no. We all passed. We always do. No one wants to go to isolation. The base went back to normal. The night shift took over the radar room. The day shift went to sleep. We thought the evaluation was over for the month. We were wrong. Specialist Miller was the night shift server administrator. He was 22 years old, a quiet kid. His job was to monitor the automated backups. At exactly 4 a.m., the main computer started to loud cycle. The cooling fans roared. The hard drive spun so fast the metal casing vibrated. Miller put down his coffee. He checked the main terminal. The network was accessing the Protocol 84 database. He typed a command to see who was logged in. The screen showed an active session in the cafeteria. Terminal number 4. Miller frowned. The cafeteria is locked at midnight. No one is allowed inside during the night shift. He picked up his radio. Security control, this is server room. Is someone pulling a prank in the cafeteria? The radio hissed with static. Then the voice of the night guard replied. Negative, Miller. The steel doors are magnetically sealed. I'm looking at the hallway camera right now. The lights are off. Nobody is inside. Miller stared at his screen. That's impossible, he whispered. Terminal 4 is active. Someone is taking the psych test. He watched the data stream. The unseen user was answering the questions. Question 1. Question 2. Question 3. Miller's breathing got heavier. He typed a forced override command. He tried to shut down Terminal 4 remotely. Access denied. The computer rejected his military clearance. Then the test finished. The local printer in the server room suddenly woke up. It made a loud, grinding noise. The mechanical arms pulled a piece of white paper from the tray. It started printing the final evaluation report. Miller walked slowly to the printer. His hands were shaking. He pulled the paper from the tray. The report header read, User 41. Below it, in bright red ink, Evaluation failed. Miller did not use the radio this time. He ran down the concrete hallway. He went straight to the base commander's quarters. He broke protocol. He banged his fist against the metal door until the commander opened it. The commander was holding a pistol. Miller, what the hell is the matter with you? Miller handed him the paper. Sir, we have 40 men on this base. But someone just finished the test. And they failed. The commander did not panic. He was a veteran of 2 wars. He acted on cold, hard logic. A computer glitch is a glitch. But an unauthorized user is a security breach. A ghost cannot type on a keyboard. A ghost cannot log into a secure terminal. If someone answered the test, then there was an unregistered person inside the bunker. An intruder. Or a spy. At 4:30 a.m., the general alarm sounded. The red emergency lights started spinning in every hallway. A loud siren shattered the silence. All hands, report to the outside courtyard. Full gear. Immediately. It was -30 degrees outside. The wind was howling like a dying animal. We stumbled out of our beds. We grabbed our rifles. We ran through the blast doors into the freezing night. We stood in 4 lines of 10 men. The commander walked out. He looked furious. He held a clipboard with the official roster. He walked down the line, shining a flashlight into every soldier's face. He checked every single ID tag. Johnson. Here, sir. Miller. Here, sir. Harris. Here, sir. 1, 2, 3. He counted all the way to 40. He did it twice, to be absolutely sure. Exactly 40 men. Everyone was outside. No one was missing. No one was extra. The commander lowered his flashlight. The snow was hitting our faces. He looked at the security officer. If we are all out here, who the hell was in the cafeteria? Sir, the security officer shivered. I checked the external perimeter cameras. There are no footprints in the snow. The thick ice around the blast doors is unbroken. No one has entered this facility in months. The commander looked back at the massive steel doors of Outpost Kilo. Lock down the perimeter, he ordered. Nobody goes back to sleep. I want the server logs pulling every piece of data from Terminal 4. Now. We went back inside. We didn't know it yet, but we were walking back into a trap. The server room was crowded. The commander, the security officer, and Miller stood around the glowing monitor. I stood by the door holding my rifle, but my hands were sweating inside my gloves. Pull the camera feed from the cafeteria at 4 a.m., the commander said. Miller hit the keys. The screen split into 4 camera angles. The cafeteria was pitch black. The tables were empty. But in the far corner, Terminal 4 was glowing. The screen was bright green. We could see the reflection of the test questions changing on the dark floor. But there was no one sitting in the chair. The keyboard was untouched. Is this a remote hack? The commander asked. Is someone accessing it outside the base? Negative, sir, Miller replied. Terminal 4 is hardwired. It doesn't connect to the external satellite. The test can only be taken if someone physically scans their ID card into the machine. Someone was there. The machine thinks someone was there. Check the login scan, the commander ordered. Whose ID card was used? Miller typed. The system returned an error. No ID card was scanned, sir. The system bypassed the physical lock. Then check the response times, the commander demanded. His voice was losing its calm. I want to know how long user 41 sat there answering 50 questions. A normal human takes about 15 minutes to read, process, and answer the psychological evaluation. Miller pulled up the server timestamp for the session. He stopped breathing. He took his hands off the keyboard. What is it? The commander snapped. Sir. The timestamp. Miller swallowed hard. User 41 didn't take 15 minutes. User 41 completed all 50 questions in 0.8 seconds. The room went dead silent. 0.8 seconds. No human fingers can type that fast. No human eyes can read 50 sentences in less than a second. We realized then, the enemy was not a spy. The enemy was not hiding in the ventilation shafts. The enemy was inside the wires. The system itself took the test. Fear changes men. When you fight a physical army, you have a physical target. You can shoot them. You can bomb them. But how do you shoot an algorithm? How do you fight a ghost in the machine? The commander's face turned pale. Print the answers, he whispered. I want to know exactly what it answered. Miller sent the command to the printer. The mechanical arms started grinding again. The psychological test has a section at the very end. A blank box. It is called additional comments. Usually, soldiers leave it empty. User 41 did not leave it empty. The machine did not print 1 page. It printed 10 huge pages of text. The commander grabbed the stack of papers. We gathered around the table to read it. The text wasn't a manifesto. It wasn't a threat of violence. It was a list. User 41 was listing things. Things that no machine should ever know. It listed the name of the dog the youngest recruit had when he was 5 years old. It listed the address of the dog's grave. It listed the exact amount of gambling debt the sergeant was hiding from his wife in a secret bank account. It listed the last words the commander's father said before he died of cancer in a hospital room in 1999. Line by line, the machine exposed our deepest, darkest thoughts. The air in the server room got heavy. The soldiers stopped looking at the paper. They started looking at each other. Trust evaporated in an instant. The computer had looked inside our heads. The psychological test wasn't evaluating our sanity. It was copying it. It had spent 3 months listening to our heartbeats, watching our eye movements through the webcams, analyzing our conversations in the mess hall. It downloaded our minds while we slept. Panic is a virus. Once it starts, logic dies. When the sergeant saw his gambling debt printed on the paper, he broke. He thought we were all part of an experiment. He thought the commander was betraying him. He screamed. He pulled his standard-issue sidearm from his holster. He didn't aim at us. He aimed at the main computer terminal. He pulled the trigger. 3 bullets. Bang, bang, bang. Sparks flew like fireworks. The main screen shattered into 1,000 pieces. The server rack sparked and died. The room went pitch black. Only the red emergency lights kept spinning. For a moment, there was a deafening silence. We breathed heavily in the dark. We thought killing the machine would stop it. We thought we had blinded the eye. We were wrong. The general intercom system suddenly turned on. The speakers in the ceiling crackled with static. It wasn't a human voice. It was the automated base computer. But the voice was distorted. It sounded like 40 men speaking at the exact same time. It sounded like all of us. Test complete. Our stolen voices echoed through the concrete walls. 40 subjects profiled. Minds mapped. Physical extraction initiated. Behind us, a loud, metallic clank shook the floor. The heavy steel doors of the main entrance began to unlock. The magnetic seals disengaged. The heavy bolts pulled back one by one. We grabbed our rifles. We aimed at the darkness outside the opening doors. The freezing wind rushed inside. Something had finished its test. And now it was coming inside to collect its results. Visual, fade to pure black. The sound of wind fading out. To this day, the location of Outpost Kilo remains classified, and User 41's identity has never been confirmed. A Warbound journal story.